Okay, ready?
Yep.
Good evening, everybody. This is our annual, quote, business meeting. We have a few items of business that we're required to transact before the electors and the membership. We're going to try to be very brief this evening. And our first order of business, here's our order of business for tonight. Review of the financial statements by our district treasurer, George Elgie. Announcement of resolution votes put out to the membership and adopted by District Secretary Don Polton. A recognition of incoming DG Cheryl Mativa, incoming DG-elect Michael Ferris, and incoming DGN Mike Paulin. I'll do that. Then Cheryl will have some time to discuss her annual theme and talk about her district conference. And then we'll open the floor up to comments about the district strategic plan that's been circulated to people. So with that, George, take it away.
Thank you, District Governor Joe.
Short timer, please.
Okay, great. Get that timer, get the hook. These are the financial statements of June 30th, 2020. This is
George,
yeah.
Just a minute. Rosie, can you let me share the screen, please? This is Janine. So I can pull them up.
You realize, Janine, you're taking away from my incredible time.
Okay, well, I don't have share screen.
It's okay. That's okay with me.
Okay.
I'm trying to, Jeannie, I'm trying to find you here. There you are. Rosie's co-host. I'm just trying to find you down there. George, I know you're happy that we're taking away from your time. Sorry.
And that concludes my report.
Janine, wait, is that you there? Yes, it is. All right, Janine, I'll let you put them up here. And I've just made you a co-host.
Because they were not my financial statements, they were Dean McVeigh's. And so Karen, basically 3 CPAs took a look at this. We broke the way our financial statements, and the Finance Committee has already seen these and they've been approved. But for those that haven't, just a kind of a brief overview, we have a number of we have the Alaska operating, which is basically the DG travel and a whole bunch of other stuff. We have Youth Exchange, RILA, District Conference, and grant funds. Okay, those are the primary big ticket items and where the money comes in and goes out from. And so each one of us took a couple of those, 1 or 2 of them. And we did a review of all the bank statements, approval of expenditures, everything all the way through, authorization for expenditures, things like that. So we found no issues with any of the sections that we have. We still have a very large fund balance, which is good and bad, but on the rainy day side, as Joe says, it's a good thing. On the nonprofit side, we should probably be getting rid of that money. But other than that, we're in very good shape. We went through, again, as I say, there was, all the filings are on time, 990s, biennial reports, all the licensing that we need. And again, all the different bank statements and funds and everything were properly accounted for. So, and the Finance Committee had time to go through them, looked at them. We had comments. We answered most of the questions. Anyway, we're in good shape, very good shape. And I don't know what else to tell you other than hopefully at the end of this year, it'll be the same thing. No findings, since I'm the one doing the accounting this time. So
thank you, George. So to summarize, we're solvent. We have plenty of money. All the reports are made and the accounts all check out upon review.
Yep, absolutely.
Thank you. Janine, we could stop the screen share now. And Don Polton, we have resolutions and the other things that you have sent out in a series of staggered emails with votes received back from you.
Okay, thank you, Joe. Yes, as we all know, every year we send out a call for resolutions for both the district and Rotary International. And these resolutions amend the district MOP as well as the RI's MOP. This year we received 3 district resolutions and we received none for Rotary International. The first is a traditional resolution. It acknowledges and thanks the district governor for his or her service during their year. As we know, Joe Kashi was so acknowledged this year, and it was submitted by his club. The second resolution was submitted by Finance Chair Diana Fijis. It allows for the payment of certain invoices electronically, either debit and credit cards, rather than exclusively by check. And this district is now in alignment with current business practices. Our third resolution was submitted by the Council of Governors Chair Gail Nepper. It allows Council of Governor members to live outside the boundaries of the district, which in effect is the state of Alaska. This acknowledges the fact that in this day and age, many district Rotarians live in other places and can effectively participate in any meetings or conversations via electronic platforms like Zoom and such, as we're all getting a little bit tired of. And I'd like to thank all the clubs for participating this year. We sent out 5 emails, tried to keep it as simple as we could and as direct as possible. And we came up with a successful conclusion. So that's my report, Joe.
Thank you. And they all passed, I presume?
Oh, they all passed. That's right. As well as the district also has to approve the financial statements that George just went over, and they were also approved. So we had 4 items that had to be voted on this year.
Thank you, Don. And we've already had our official State of Alaska corporate business meeting at the mid-year conference in which the next year's corporate officers for the state corporation side of the district, President Cheryl Mativa, Vice President Mike Ferris, and then so on down the line with District Secretary and District Treasurer matching. That was done previously, so we need not do it at this time.
Yeah, I might add, Joe, that was also done digitally back in February. So
right,
it was a success as well.
Yes, and I know why my club submitted the thanks. They were just glad not to see me for most of the year this year. But so be it. Now, if we could all shift over to the speaker view in our screen, and then I will ask our incoming district governor, Cheryl Mativa, to just speak a few words so we shift to the speaker view and we can recognize you, Cheryl. Cheryl?
Hello, everybody. It is great to see you and to have such a wonderful turnout at our meeting this evening. As Joe keeps saying, he's a short timer, and I'm kind of starting to bite my nails a little bit, but July 1st, we're going to kick off a whole new year, a whole new theme, and hopefully the ability to meet back in person and to really enjoy serving together as Rotarians. Joe, do you want me to capsule my year now, or would you like me to do it?
No, I was going to introduce Mike, and then I was going to shift back to you for the next 2 items after that.
Perfect.
Mike Ferris, incoming district governor-elect. Just say a few words. Hey, Mike.
How's everybody tonight?
We're fine. You're looking very district governor-ish tonight.
Yeah, my fair state. I want everybody to know my name.
And Mike Paulin. Mike, you're muted.
Hi, everybody. I am very happy to follow in the footsteps of both you, Joe, and Cheryl and Mike, and I'm looking forward to serving our district somewhere down the road. And we'll have all kinds of exciting things to talk about when we get there. Some wonderful things are happening.
Thank you, Mike. And trust me, we'll definitely get through this meeting quickly tonight. My dog is here whining, expressing his frustration at being inside. Cheryl, back to you. You want to talk about your annual theme and where you want to go? And we'll do a little bit more of that next week, of course, but at least a taste now.
Yep, we'll just touch on it briefly. By the way, Mike Ferris, Ferris State University is located in Michigan, by
Hmm.
Big Rapids, Michigan, my home state. And I have a number of friends that graduated from there. So if that sweatshirt wears out, let me know. Well,
All
first
right.
of all, everybody, I want you to know that it has been a challenging year for all of us, and certainly as your DGE, it has not been easy. Like Joe said initially, Zoom meetings are exhausting at best, and of all years for me to be training, I've lost track. But I think our greatest challenge this year was our president-elects. For the first time ever, PETS became 100% virtual. And it was incredibly challenging, not only for my peers and I with Pacific Northwest PETS to try to figure out how to create a curriculum and how to provide services, but how to make it engaging and fun and help our PEs connect with each other throughout Pacific Northwest. It was a challenge. And I have to say, I just applaud. I applaud all of our president-elects who have remained in the saddle, because frankly, it's been challenging. So as each one of you go back to your clubs and you work with that president-elect, I ask that you thank them and you show them the appreciation for the ultimate aspect of volunteerism. We're all volunteers, but that is not an easy role under the best of times. And so I really, truly feel that many of our president-elects have not had that opportunity of foundation that they would normally get at in-person PETS. I had a meeting a couple nights ago with my peers, and we fully intend to do PETS in person next year for Mike Ferris and his team, and full steam ahead. We've got the plans in place. So that would be very exciting. I'm gonna step aside so you can see this logo. I couldn't figure out any other way to do it, so get ready. Okay, did you all see that? That is the logo that is coming up for this year, and it is incredible. The name of it is Serve to Change Lives. It's simple, it's easy, and I think it bodes well to the passion and spirit of each one of us as Rotarians. So that is the International Rotary theme. I can't do any better than that, so I'm going to go ahead and carry the same theme. So Serve to Change Lives is not only the theme this next year for our district, but it will be the theme at our district conference. The district conference is going to be held next May. We're pretty excited. We've signed the contract at the Talkeetna Lodge. So we'll be held back in Talkeetna, which if many of you remember, Clyde Boyer was our first DG to hold a conference at Talkeetna, and it was at the Talkeetna Lodge, followed by Brad Gamble. So I'm excited to bring it back there. And again, that's going to be held in person if at all possible. And we are planning an in-person conference. And that will be May 12th through the 15th. May 12th is a Thursday, and Mike Ferris and I have been talking, and we are going to go ahead and do assembly in person again on that Thursday afternoon. And then we'll kick off the conference on Friday afternoon and conclude by noon on Sunday. So that just gives you a little bit of an outline, and there's a lot of information that will start coming your way. A challenge that was given to all of us, I guess I would say, is DGEs from our incoming international president. Shaker Menta said, I want you to be change maker governors. And that really struck a chord with me, to be not only a change maker governor, I think it's a challenge to all of us in our district to be change makers in our home clubs, in our communities, in our state, in our district, in Rotary. And so I challenge all of you to kind of take that as your personal mantra. And then the other one is, of course, we always have the challenge of growing membership. And so Shaker has also put out kind of the slogan of each one bring one. And so again, if you go back to your clubs and you just challenge every member to bring one guest or one new member to your club this year, we're going to see tremendous growth and success, not only in our district, but in Rotary as well. And last but not least, I've been asked kind of what my values are for this year, I guess, to put that forward. I'm passionate, of course, for youth. Our wonderful youth exchange program is somewhat on hold for a year, but I'm passionate about suicide prevention throughout our state. not only with our youth and in our rural communities, but in our military personnel as well, both active and inactive military. So that's something that you're going to be hearing a lot more from me on, including some support for Battle Dogs, a local Alaskan military suicide prevention program, and human trafficking. And right now I'm in the process of developing relationship on behalf of our district with ASHTA and with My House, which has a statewide presence. So again, you'll hear about those things later, but that gives you a little idea of what I'll be talking about throughout my visits with clubs throughout our district. And it is my honor and my privilege to be stepping forward July 1st as your district governor. Thank you.
Thank you, Cheryl. And Mike Ferris, did you want to give us a quick blurb on your Kodiak District Conference?
Yeah, it's, I grew up in Kodiak. Great place to be. I thought about it. I don't know if we've been a long time. I don't think before I was in Rotary that we had a conference there. I thought, maybe people wouldn't come. It's a little obscure, but boy, everybody I talk to goes, I want to go to Kodiak. I've never been. What a great place to go. So we'll have a fun time there. There's going to be a lot to do. We'll have a lot of things planned. The 4th, 5th, 6th is the date right now. We might move it back a week, the 12th, 13th. And we're playing it a little bit by ear, but yeah, Kodiak is a great place. If you haven't been there, we'll have fun. I remember what a great time we had in Sitka. The first time I've been in Sitka, and I think we'll have that same kind of experience in Kodiak.
Cool. Yeah, Sitka was a lot of fun. Okay, thank you, Mike. Now, the last item on our agenda is the discussion of our strategic plan. I believe I sent copies to everybody of the most recent version dated April 27. Does anybody have any thoughts or suggestions? Or just discussion, I should say.
I'll just comment, Joe, that I think you put an awfully lot of good, deep thought into this and a lot of effort. And when we discussed it at the Council of Governors, we thought you'd really picked on the kind of the key issues and done a really good job. So I'm proud to say you're my classmate from MIT.
Well, we'll see if MIT's proud of that or not, but thank you, Ted, for the kind words anyway. Anybody else have any thoughts or comments? You can throw brick bets if you want to. They're going to stop at my screen and they'll miss me, no problem. And of course, Ted, I need to say that this was an effort by the entire DG team, along with other people. And of course, the thoughts of the Council of Governors, those thoughts were also incorporated in the final draft that went out to people. Anybody else? Going once. Comments, suggestions, or anything else? Going twice. Boy, this is definitely Zoom fatigue, no question about it.
Joe, I'll just chip in because I can never stop talking. And I'm just going to say thanks for steering the ship this year, because this has not been an easy trip for anybody.
Thank you, Brian.
Thank you for doing this.
Thank you,
It's been
Brian.
an honor serving underneath you, Joe.
Pardon me? Oh.
It's been an honor serving underneath you.
Well, hey, let's wait till July 1, and then you can make your final decision whether to do that or not.
Hey, we have senioritis over here.
Oh, no. Actually, my own sense is, obviously we're going to be doing transition to the new DG team coming in, but my intention is to basically firewall it until the end of the year, mostly because I don't want to leave any more loose ends than necessary to distract, Cheryl, Mike, and Mike from the excellent ideas and plans that they have in place. So we'll be trying to clean up a lot of loose ends. Between now and then, you can expect to still keep getting emails from me. Sorry about that.
Joe, Mike Pollan here.
Mike.
I did have a comment on the strategic plan. Actually,
Yes.
What I wanted to do is give a tip of the hat to the last strategic planning committee that was assembled and run very, very capably by Gail Nepper. And we actually followed Gail's outline of the strategic plan format. I remember as we were putting this one together. So I just wanted to thank her for the previous plan. It was time to update it. It's been a while. And I think we have a great document now.
Thank you. Anybody
We're just
else?
going to use it.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's designed to be used. The idea now is we'll have guiding principles, but each year, each incoming DG team will get together before time and write their operational plan for the year. This is a strategic plan. The other would be operational, on a yearly basis. Anybody else? Come on, this is not a shy group of people, really. Going twice.
I think Clyde has something to say, but he's muted.
Oh, okay.
Clyde, you're muted.
Okay,
He muted again.
I wonder, should I get a big cardboard to say, turn on your mic, Mike?
Clyde, we couldn't hear you. No, you got to unmute.
You're still muted, Clyde. There you go.
Ah,
stop.
Try now. We can hear you now, Clyde.
Okay. I was congratulating Sean Mativa on what I see as a good year coming up, and want to congratulate Joe for a great year he just put in during these difficult times. Thank you both.
well, thank you, Clyde. From somebody like you or Gail or Ted or Andre who's had that already under their belt, it's always appreciated. Thank you. Going 2.5 times. Remember, once we're done here, that's our story and we're going to stick to it. Well, I guess that's third time. Well, this may be the shortest Zoom meeting of this district on record. So unless anybody has any final thoughts or comments, we'll close it out. We'll thank you guys. And Rudy here, who's bugging me to throw his ball for him outside, will actually get some sunshine.
Joe, do we need a motion to approve the strategic plan as proposed?
I don't know that we do, but do we have? Okay, well, can't hurt. Did you want to make the motion, Andre?
Yeah, I'll move that we adopt the proposed strategic plan as written.
I'll second that.
Thank you, Ted. Discussion or any more discussion? I'll call the question then, and I guess I would first ask: is there anybody who would object to it in its current format? Well, then, Andre, I guess that we would deem the motion to be accepted and the strategic plan adopted with the full concurrence of everybody here tonight.
Although it did sound like Rudy was objecting.
Nope, that wasn't Rudy. In fact, that was somebody else's dog, but Rudy did go to the window to look outside to see which dog was barking. He's over at the window now doing his German Shepherd scan from the high vantage point. Do we have any other business this evening? Well, then, we're adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, Joe.
If anybody wants to visit, we'll just stick on here for a little bit in case anybody decides they want to visit.
Thank you, Joe.
Thank you, Joe.
I did want to comment about Mike Pollan's background there. That's pretty cool, Mike.
Do you know what that is?
Well, I spent a couple of years in my childhood at the Shaw Creek Lodge, so I'm pretty familiar with the bridge across the Delta River and some of that stuff up in the interior.
Well,
Yep.
Ted, I'll tell you, Mike, why don't you tell them what it is? That's going to be our, we'll be announcing a lot of that before next week's awards and thank you meeting, which I hope as many of you as possible can attend. Mike Paul, you want to tell them what that is?
Sure, I'd be happy to. This was on April 21st this year, and we were actually doing the first prototype pilot test of a proposed District 5010 emergency water treatment system that would be used to be able to be transported into villages who've lost their water system during the winter. And it could draw water from any clear water source and make potable water. So this was the actual pilot test. The unit that's over on the table in the background is about a 2 gallon per minute unit. The production model is about 5 gallons per minute, which would produce about 7,000 gallons a day, which would be 20 gallons per person for a village of 350 people. And the water that we produced, we actually took samples. I can cover this here so you can actually see. I was actually doing some tests.
Hey, Mike, I'm going to make you the host so you can share your screen.
Okay.
Or actually, let's just all go to a speaker view, and if you get out of the way, we can see it.
I'm ready when you are.
I'm ready.
Okay. But anyway, is it showing speaker view?
I'm sure I'm seeing speaker view.
Okay.
Everybody's got to set that up for themselves on their own computer.
Yeah. But the bottom line is we ran a bunch of tests in the field and we took other samples, and we just got the test results back this week. And we actually had both total and E. coli contamination in the Tanana River. Not a lot, but the system was able to produce what would otherwise be perfectly potable water under the current EPA regulations. And there was even a trace of arsenic. It took that out. It took out the iron. There was a little manganese that knocked that down, and it worked really, really well. So the bottom line is the prototype treatment system is doing what we hoped it would do. And I'm actually preparing some further information about the pilot test project that was done. And we have some more work in the offing. But this is hopefully is going to be a pretty remarkable technology and very portable. The actual constructed unit is going to be a 6 foot by 6 foot by 8 foot welded aluminum frame with a high-tech aluminum insulated tent that fits over the top of it. And the whole thing will actually weigh less than 800 pounds and be transportable by a Hughes 500 helicopter. And it's designed specifically to be able to be moved out into regional hubs. And if a water system has a problem, this thing can be helicoptered in and dropped into place. A submersible pump goes in the river and you're making water in hours. And it would be replace this, $20 a gallon equivalent bottled water they're flying in and jamming the airports with. We produce it right on site.
Yeah, and Mike, as I recall, this would be helicopter portable by even a relatively small helicopter like a Hughes 500.
Exactly.
If I'm not mistaken. Arctic proof, you can use it all winter. And what was it? We had 6 villages this year alone that lost water
Yes.
during the winter?
Yep. It was at least 6 villages, and there's still situations that are ongoing that I have not hit the press. So this is a pretty chronic problem. We're not trying to solve all the issues that could happen out there, but I think we could probably address maybe 3/4 of them with this kind of a system. So that's what we have.
So Mike, can it be used in the winter time? Can you dig a hole in the ice and put the submersible pump into the water underneath the ice and have it work?
Yes, exactly. In fact, that's the actual design. I've actually got the blueprints that were drafted up by the engineer I'm working with, John Doofendock. That's John by the water tank on the left here. And he actually drew the plan up so that it would use a submersible pump. It would have a small, flexible, heat traced, insulated hose that would come from the river source and into the tent structure. The whole thing would be powered with about 5 kW worth of a small power plant. Any kind of reasonable small emergency generator would work, but it would have an electric heater in the tent, the water pump, and the rest of the equipment to make the thing work, a little chlorination device. But it's actually, like I say, it worked really, really well. Now this, of course, is just, we have a pretty nice day. We're out on the edge of the river and all of this would be in an enclosed structure. The gentleman that's working next to John in the picture here is Captain Mike Chesa. He's the local senior officer with the Alaska State Defense Force, he came out and assisted us with this and actually had a filling station that John Dufendorf's company, Camp Water Industries of Delta Junction, had built for their use. He brought it out, we hooked it up to this thing, and we were actually producing water and toasting each other with the water out of it. It was pretty cool. So the Alaska State Defense Force is interested in this, and we had the North Pole Rotary Club, a couple of people came out, and there were people with interest from all over the state of Alaska that would have been at where we had first planned to do it was by the Tanana River landing off Chinapump Road in Fairbanks, but the heavy snowfall we had, our little Easter surprise we call it, literally filled the campground to the point where we couldn't get in and out of there. So we, John and I opted to move this thing, and the river was open enough, and it was just right at the end of winter. So it was just like the edge of winter test. And we were hoping to do it under ice, but it looks like it would perform very nicely.
For April 21, that's a remarkable lack of snow and river ice both.
It's pretty far up the Tanana, so the ice goes out first up there. You go around the end here, and it was pretty jammed up. So,
You know, Diane, the other thing is, remember when you were talking about whether it would be nice if Rotary could help with disaster issues a few years back? Well, this is the kind of thing that would also be very useful in a place like, let's say, Valdez or, you know, Yakutat or whatever, that got hit by a big earthquake and knocked out their water system also.
Right.
So, I mean, it would have multiple capabilities there.
Now, if you can just figure out how to get the salt out of water, we can put it outside Anchorage and, just get it out of the inlet.
May have to just accept Ship Creek instead.
Mike,
we know how to do that, but it's a little more. That costs a little
Mike,
more.
this is Andre. I've got a couple of questions. You mentioned the pump. So I understand there's a pump that pumps the water through the filters. I only see 2 filters. Is there more filters there than what I see?
No, it's actually only 2 filters, but these are actually a 2-stage filter. The first one starts with 25 micron and then finishes as a 1 micron inside the core of the filter. So it's like 2 different filters in one. It's called a gradient filter. The other one is activated carbon on the outside and has a 0.5 micron, what's called a cyst rated filter to take out Giardia lamblia, think beaver fever here, and Cryptosporidium parvum, which are the 2 bugs that are currently being rated by the regulations, the Enhanced Surface Water Treatment Rule of the US EPA. We met all those criteria. We met the microbial rule with the coliform testing. We actually were really pleased with the results that came out of it. So what we were able to do is find out 2 days later after we had drank the water that it was safe. How's that for being brave?
I would call it very confident, Mike.
How do you keep the system from jamming up with sand from the river?
Well, one of the things we talked about is when would this work? And nearly all of the villages, and we're talking about villages off the road system here primarily, they're located on either a lake or they're on a river. And during the winter, those water sources tend to run very, very clear under the ice.
Okay.
So what this would respond to is that time of the year, think dead winter here, when the system goes down, the water system fails. This would be able to be helicoptered in, dropped into place, draw fairly clear water out, and then operate under the conditions of that kind of water quality. Now, when the rivers break up, the lake turns over, and you're into spring, they would have to do something else. This is an emergency system to get them through the rest of the winter until you can get into the construction season and start doing something on a grander scale. We can't fix everything for everybody, but we could solve an emergency response to probably 75% of the villages in Alaska with this.
So how often would the filters have to be changed out, the 2 that are there?
That depends on the quality of the water. What we're looking at is the turbidity of the water is low enough that the filters would probably last, if not days, weeks. They could even go longer than that. John Dufendorf has systems that are using this same kind of filter technology up in Birch Creek, for example, and they will go weeks to during the summer to months in the winter between filter changes. They do have, there's a meter that actually measures what's called differential pressure across each one of the filters. So the operator can walk up and look at the gauge, and it literally will tell them if it's, moved into the yellow area, they need to get ready with some spare filters. If it's in the red area, they shut it down, pop out the old filters, put in the new ones, turn it back on, and they're going again.
Filters are,
change out is very simple.
Mike, the filters are a consumable essentially.
Yes, they are.
Now, I will tell people that, and I saw Michelle's comment that this would be a cool article for Rotary Magazine. Mike has promised me that he will have a write-up about all of this by tomorrow. And I've already talked to Will Morrow today, who will be writing up a news style article for this, which we'll be sending out as our major substantive press release number 2. The first one being our food security article that went out yesterday. And Michelle, I'll get it to you, and you can send it off to Rotary Magazine. Basically, when Tuloxuk went down, and people start trying to fly in 6,000 bottles of water, which is it cost $100,000 that they raised via, I believe it was GoFundMe, to fly in 6,000 bottles of water with this project here for a 40 grand complete, final system. For 40% of the cost, we could produce more water in a day than they spent 100 grand to try to fly into Tuloxuk and do it day in and day out for months. This originally started at our February district mid-year conference when some people said, you should do something about this. So we did. Rather than spend 100 grand to fly in water and carpet bomb a weathered in Tuloxuk runway with frozen bottles of water, this can be brought in by a helicopter. Sometimes the runways like at Tuloxuk, they couldn't get water in because they were weathered in, and the runways were so snowed under, fixed wing aircraft couldn't land. This way, with it being helicopter portable, we can get it in much more readily, much more easily, with a lot less hassle than would be the case otherwise. And so that's why it developed toward a helicopter portable, basically a helicopter portable unit that could run for a couple of months. Now, what we're going to do within the next month and a half or more is we'll continue developing this, and I'm going to go and start a GoFundMe request along the lines. Somebody started one for Tuloxuk for literally $100,000 for bottles of water. We're going to try to go and do a GoFundMe. I'm going to make a request to Rasmussen. I'm going to make a request to Alaska State Defense Fund on the budget. And I'll probably look at some other grant sources and money sources as well to see if we can't raise the money quickly using a hybrid approach. Our classic way of raising money is we make an appeal to Rotarians, and then we try to go and get a foundation grant. Or basically that's it, essentially. I'm going to see if we can't try to find 5 or 7 different sources of money and see if we can get all of them to start feeding together and raise enough to get at least 1 or 2 full-blown prototypes moving. And so that's the plan for the next month and a half.
But don't forget a global grant. You could get a global grant for this one.
Probably could. Take too much, Ted, it might take too much time to get it through, and we have to find an out of the country Rotary Club to sponsor it with us. We don't have any of that now.
You'd have to go to Whitehorse.
Yeah,
Whitehorse, come on.
Hey, Ted, I think I could raise the money, or at least a big chunk of it, in the next month and a half if we can do a successful hybrid approach. We'll see. It's worth to try to see if we can broaden our approach to fundraising in any event to get outside of the classic Rotary orbit.
Still, great kudos to Mike. This is just a really great piece of work, and you've put your lifetime expertise into good hands. This is a great project.
The suggestion I see was to also think about some of the insurance companies helping fund it. And that's a great idea. I did not think about that. I'm used to taking money from Allstate and State Farm, but usually not quite in this manner.
Oh, no. Joe, one of the things I wanted to add, you talked about Tuluksak and
Yep.
the folks from the Regional Health Corporation, Bristol Bay Area, out in Bethel. They actually flew in some bits and pieces of some old pilot plant hardware they had for a water treatment system and essentially cobbled together. It took them a couple of weeks to do it, but they cobbled together something that wasn't too terribly far off of what we're proposing here. And they just had to discontinue using that because the ice went out on the Kuskokwim River. But they actually did this for the village for a short period of time while they had the capability. It was flown in by the Dahlin Creek Mine charter. I think it was a DC-3 they had to fly it in there with.
A lot of airplane to fly something in with. Yeah.
Well, they were bringing in bottled water too, and toilet
Yeah,
paper.
yeah. Anyway, I think, Mike, I think this has been a great project that you and John Duffenbach have gotten so far on in not even 3 months. I mean, we're beyond proof of concept into operational fundraising and operational construction in under 3 months. So I think that's just a fabulous thing you guys have done. And I could see how it could have some really good public image for district as well.
Well, it's a lot of fun.
Anybody else?
Hey, everybody, my dogs are barking and they need to be fed. So I'm going to say goodbye.
Goodbye. Bye, Cheryl. My dogs aren't barking now.
Bye, Cheryl.
Bye.
Good night, guys. See you in the morning. Or
Although he did
see you next week.
Bye. He is staring at me, though. I will say that.
Bye, everybody. Thanks, Joe. Great
So long.
project, too. Great project.
Do you have any contacts at Allstate or State Farm, or was
Well, I was just thinking, they do home insurance, right? So
Sure.
if you just reached out to some of the local, I mean, it could be any of the agents in Anchorage, Wasilla. I don't know if they're people that represent the villages, but Bethel, Nome, Kotzebue.
I don't know if they write insurance where there are no fire departments.
I don't know either.
I don't know. Anyway, this would be for the failure. I'll ask and see. It's
Yeah.
it's worth a try. The worst they could say is no, and I'll be in the same spot I would be in otherwise.
Right,
I didn't even ask.
right.
So great idea. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome. It's an amazing project. I can see this going statewide.
Oh, yeah.
With all the villages and even down on the Aleutian or whatever.
Well, I could see it going beyond that point into, Rotary more generally.
Mm-hmm. Yep. No, good project. Thanks, Joe. Appreciate it.
Bye.
See you later.
The only problem with having the screen this way, Mike, is I can't read who's still on board. Well,
Not many of us.
I think we're down
not
to 5.
many.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we're basically gone. Sharon, did you want to say anything? Yeah, Sharon's gone too. Okay, I guess I'll just cut us off. Good night,
See you
everybody.
later.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Good night,
Bye.
Joe. Thank you.